people of YouTube, I am Mr. Deathknot from Byte-Me Games, and this is the third Byte-Me Games development log. It's been around 2.5 months since the last devlog. In that time we've been working away semi-silently. There have been a few hiccups, mainly in that I'm very busy with work at the minute. We have a major deployment coming up in about a week's time, so it's taking up an awful lot of my time. Also, David's just finishing out his first year at university. On top of that, his PC gave out on him, and so he wasn't able to do any work, and I haven't had time to install Photoshop on his new MacBook for a fair amount of time, so my bad. So this time he actually has a legitimate excuse for not doing a lot of work. In spite of this, he has produced some stuff though. I don't know whether I'll get to show any of it in this video because a lot of it's to do with the new website that I'm working on for Byte-Me Games and for the as yet unimplemented GUI for the engine. But I wanted to let you guys know that he's still alive and is still working. On the other hand, I've been working away on the multiplatform libraries that will make the engine run on Windows, Linux, Mac and PSP. In the last devlog we saw the Windows version of libBMG finished. Let's see how I get on with the other ones. Alright, so before I go on to implement the libraries, I just wanted to explain a little bit more about the concept of using the libraries and why we are going to be using them. So this is just a little diagram. This represents the interface, which this is what the engine sees. So this is just an example I've taken, and it's a draw quad function. It takes a texture and a source rectangle and a destination rectangle. This is completely platform independent. As you can see, there is no OpenGL specific data types or anything like that, or nothing to do with the PSP. It's just pure C++. When you go down here and look at this would be how it would be implemented in any of the libBMG libraries. This is pretty much just the method definition or function, and inside that you'll have the platform dependent code such as your OpenGL or your SCEGU, and by doing this it completely abstracts the targeted hardware and abstracts the software from the hardware, and means that in the future if I go to add any more platforms, it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to be hard to do because all I have to do is re-implement the library, and the engine's only going to be worried about the interface, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, so I've been working on the Linux build of libBMG for about 2.5–3 hours, I would say. Not a very long time, but it's running now. Let me just compile this. This is on my Ubuntu machine, and as you can see it's working the same as any of the other builds. It looks pretty good. Didn't take long, so I can't really complain. Yeah, that's a win. So I guess I'll start working on the OS X version. Just so you guys know, I know almost nothing about Mac. I've never really used a Mac. I've never used Xcode, so this is going to be an experience for all of us. Catch up in a while. Alright, so tonight I have a bit of spare time. I started working on the Mac library the last time on my Mac Mini. I got part of the project set up and it's checked into the SVN repository. I'm hoping to get a lot more of it done, if not all of it. I have a few hours. I don't see any problems. Check in a while. Alright, so I've been working at this for a little while, maybe an hour or so. Still something screwed up with the rendering. You know, it looks like I can't find the textures, or the textures aren't loading right, or well, it says they are, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll check in a little while. Okay, so I've got the textures loading and everything, but can you guys see that? you see it's very blue. So it looks like the red and the blue channels are getting swapped. But hopefully this is going to work. Shouldn't take too much longer. I just want to have a quick rant about Xcode as well. That it is quite possibly the least user-friendly IDE I've ever used. Once you get it going, it's great and I like it, but trying to learn how to do everything in it is it's a very roundabout way. It's not like any other IDE that you've ever used. Put it like that. It's not like any other IDE. Maybe it's not. Maybe if that was the first one you ever used, it would probably be a good thing. For instance, linking libraries in it is almost unintelligible. It's very weird, very roundabout. You can do it. Once you do, it's a great feeling of success, but yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Finally it's working. Doesn't take that long, like, I mean, I really can't complain. Took like what, 2.5, 3 hours? It's absolutely nothing in comparison to other things that I'm working on at the minute. PSP, for example. That's a whole other can of worms. So I'm just about to start work on the PSP library. I'm feeling a bit apprehensive about it because, well, the PSP is foreign hardware to me pretty much. I've never really done anything. I've looked through some of the samples, I've done a few small things. I have a program where you can render a sprite, load an image and move it around the screen. That's the height of what I've done on the PSP, so implementing this library is going to be an experience. This is a library that I wasn't even sure was going to happen, so we'll see if it does happen at all. So I've been working on the PSP framework, and it's pretty screwed, to be honest. It's absolutely banjaxed. I don't know what's wrong with it. There's a few things I'll show you. Check to my bad self. Give it a second to load. Okay, so there are black dots on the screen. That's the first thing that's wrong. Second of all is that the frame rate is absolutely diabolical. Second, and the third thing is that the texture that I'm drawing, this big ass texture here, is supposed to be the player, but I can't load more than one texture, so I'm stuck with the tile sheet, which is huge. Also, the texture coordinates are completely ballsed, so when I'm supposed to be rendering like the first tile in a tile sheet or whatever, I'm rendering like something completely different, so the calculation for that's wrong somewhere along the line. I don't know, this PSP stuff is seriously a bitch. Okay, so it's roughly 5 in the morning. I've been working on the PSP library for hours and hours. I have some good news. It's finished. I've never been happier in my entire life. Okay. So, have we look at this. 60 FPS. If there's anything funny going on, it's because of the camera. It looks fine from my point of view. Everything that was implemented or is implemented in the PC, Mac, and Linux versions are all implemented in the PSP versions. Only thing that I have to say about it is that I'm using the Interfont library for text rendering, and for some reason the person who wrote the library decided that it was a good idea to reset or change the texture modes every time that they render text or anytime you call any of their functions, which is a real pain in the ass because it took me ages to figure out that that's what they were doing, and I had to look on the internet for their source code and all sorts of things just to find out what they were doing. It is documented in the README file that if you're using a graphics library, then you need to reset your texture modes after you call any of the functions. But that's absolute bullshit. It's not a balls, because anytime you do anything you're going to have to do it, unless you have the exact same texture modes as the library uses. You're going to have to reset your textures, which is, yeah. So I'm just going off here. Okay people, so here we have it. This is the Byte-Me games engine running on Linux, running on Windows, running on the Sony PSP, and running on the Mac. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's the engine running on all the platforms that we have planned at the minute. I don't see any other platforms coming out that I fancy developing for, or that are out that I fancy developing for at the minute. I wouldn't mind giving Dreamcast development a go, but well, we don't want to be copy and paste of listening shadows now, do we? I have a lot of ideas that I think will separate us quite nicely from them. Not that I have anything against the guys, I really enjoy their series and everything, so yeah, I hope they do really well. But, you know, this is all we've got time for pretty much at the minute. I would like to do an awful lot more. I have an awful lot of ideas, things that I want to implement, but I don't have time to do it right now, and I'm absolutely bogged down with work. So, well, right now at the minute we have about 215 subscribers, and that's just brilliant. I'd just like to thank everyone who's subscribed. We have a new website launching soon, hopefully. I'm kind of working on it, but it's not really done yet. We should have forums and tutorials and news and all sorts of things, and if anyone has a particular tutorial that they would like to request, comment and I'll take it under advisement. Thanks very much, guys.